There's also another article about Hyundai, so as long as we're just patting them on the back, there is an article specifically about how they're designing the interiors of their cars. And the headline is that Hyundai has decided that they want to stick with physical buttons as an industry standard.
Nice.
As the rest of the industry is pretty consistently going towards touchscreens or capacitive surfaces in a lot of vehicles.
Yeah.
We talk about this a lot on autofocus, which is, okay, we live with the car, we get used to it. And if you look at the inside of most new EVs, look at a Tesla, look at the BMW iX, which is the last video, look at almost any of them, and they just go all screen or mostly screen.
Yeah.
Almost like they're copying each other. Look at the inside of the Rivian. It's the same thing as the Model S.
Yeah.
And it looks cool on video and it looks cool in demos, but the second you try to live with the car, it gets really, certain parts of it get annoying, like changing the temperature on the HVAC or like firing up the heated steering wheel is like 3 clicks away for some reason. Just like weird things that shouldn't take, and you have to take your eyes off the road and find the software button and the touch areas are unclear. All of this to say that I've come around and I basically prefer switches more often now. And so I'm like, I love this decision. That being said, Ioniq 5 does have some weird haptic buttons in it, so I wonder if they're going to go even more towards more physical switches, but I like the idea.
Yeah, I'm full physical buttons. They also mentioned in here the reason they're doing it is because it's hard to control and usually, like you said, can distract you while you're driving. They did, however, mention they'd be open to it once level 4 autonomy comes to the road.
Fair.
So
it'll take a while.
Yeah, it didn't say like they think it's coming anytime soon, just like that's when they're open to it, which I think is kind of cool and kind of makes it feel like, okay, they're definitely doing physical buttons for a long time. They're basically saying we're doing it forever.
I don't even know that there's a good reason. I guess maybe if you're not driving, it doesn't matter. But like, is there a good reason to ever switch to fully digital, all on screen? Like I've been talked about this before. You watch a movie, like a futuristic movie, and someone always like pulls out like a wrist computer and they just have like a screen in the air and they start like typing buttons on an imaginary screen. It looks cool in the video, but like you can't feel when you hit the button.
Yeah, haptics.
There's no haptic response.
So you just push through it and it's just weird.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
I kind of understand going full screen because if you think about our phones at this point, they used to have physical buttons even with a touchscreen on them, and now they're not at all. So I guess if you are in that fully autonomous, like don't care, you're looking straight at the screen and pressing them. So like,
or at least haptics on your phone when you tap it. I think.
I turn all that shit off. I haven't had haptics on my phone.
Not even the keyboard.
Oh my gosh.
No.
None.
Wait.
Keyboard haptics on?
You guys don't.
You don't have keyboard haptics.
I don't want to be that like.
I don't have keyboard haptics.
Well, okay.
Thank you, Ellis. I hate that.
I
It's
just
the
had
first
to
thing I
test it
turn
because
off.
I wasn't sure. I don't have haptics either.
Oh my god!
So
it's the worst.
This is a
I
really
hate
in
you
the weeds
guys.
thing. A phone with bad haptics makes the haptic keyboard seem so stupid because you're just typing and it's going and you're like, this is dumb. But a phone with really
I make fun of people like you.
But a phone with good haptics, it feels like it's a really tight, precise thing. Like it's real feedback to like hitting a button. Like when you, this is stupid, but a typewriter, when you get that click, you love mechanical keyboards. You know, the feeling of like feeling the click. You get a little bit of that with a good haptic motor. It's about that.
Boomer.
I think this is why
I just turned it on. I'm never going back.
Wait,
This is
never
awesome.
going. You like it?
Yeah.
You'll have it turned off by tomorrow.
Next week, I'll check in with the viewers. And let
You
them
will
know.
definitely have it turned
iPhones
off.
just got this feature with the keyboard, just for haptic touch.
Oh,
And-
iPhones have them now, and we love
And
them.
they love it. They love it because that's the one thing that's like.
No,
you could
I'm
always-
Stroking the fire, Andrew. Stroking the fire.
I'm just not
I think
into that.
this is why in VR, when you are like a lot of VR interfaces, when you're selecting something, it has you tap your own finger because
Exactly.
you can feel yourself.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when you can feel yourself, it's kind of like pressing against something.
Yeah, I guess like I can see that being. I bet you will get to the point where in VR, people will start disabling stuff like that, or you can't disable your
Just like
finger.
doing this in VR is awful.
Now is weird because we're not used to it. I wonder because I'm sure when we all first got a smartphone, it had those haptics and we had them on. But now I'm at the point where like I hate it and I will never turn it on. But it's probably because I've gotten so used to it.
Yeah, I guess I've used a lot of phones that all have different quality of haptic motors. So a lot of Android phones, it's on by default. And the first thing you do when you fire up a phone is start putting in your email address and the Wi-Fi password. And as I'm doing that, I'm like, I'm turning this off.
Yeah.
It's terrible. And I get that feeling.
No, I haven't
for the
done
good
this
ones,
in
I
so
leave it
long.
on.
Yeah.
I leave it on. You should turn it on just for fun. Pixel has a good haptic motor.
Yeah, Pixel 7 Pro is a really good haptic
I think that would be
motor.
a good one.
Yeah.
Use vibration.
How is the Oppo Find X6 haptic motor?
Good haptic
Pretty
motor.
good.
Yeah.
I feel like the quality of the build of the phone often dictates the quality of the haptic motor.
True. There's all these rumors now too of the iPhone getting rid of the separate volume buttons and just
Yeah.
having one solid state rocker.
Right.
So no mute switch, just one button.
Yeah.
Not sure if that solves any problems, but it seems like that's a move that's dependent on really good other haptic
I mean,
experiences.
the fact that the MacBooks,
You turned it on.
the fact that the
It's awful.
MacBooks motor or key, what
It's
is it
good.
called?
The trackpad.
The trackpad is
Yeah.
not actually clicking, and it you cannot tell the difference.
That's
if
the two
someone
things.
didn't know that it was not actually clicking, they would never figure it out.
I didn't know.
It genuinely blew my mind
It's
when
me.
I first figured it
I
out.
assumed that it was magnetic, so when it was powered off, it wouldn't let you click. I didn't realize that it was
It's
just,
literally a haptic motor
It's
pressing
just a
back on your
motor
finger.
simulating a
That's
click.
Isn't that insane?
goddamn, they're good.
Yeah,
good.
when the rumors of that came out, everyone was like, "This is the worst idea of all time." And then when they actually released it, everyone was like, "This feels exactly the same."
Hot
Yeah.
take: haptics are overrated.
You're overrated.
Overrated. Oh,
I
I'm
think-
on the other side.
I
of
think
that.
it'll be it's like a emergent property of the UI that we're used to. Because we're used to
Adam.
clicking buttons, we want to feel something. But if the UI changes and there's no more buttons in the UI, like in the future of VR, who knows if there's going to be buttons when you're doing things? Then what's the point of haptics? Why do
Well,
you have them?
okay, so there's buttons, but there's all sorts of other haptics too. Like when people talk about like driving a car and you talk about the steering feel, when you drive a Tesla, you get people commenting about how it feels like a video game steering feel because you turn the wheel and you don't really feel the road through the steering wheel, but you can sort of see yourself turning and you
Yeah.
can see yourself go over the bumps and you're like, oh, it's like a video game. Like if I had an Xbox controller and I hit left, that's what it's like driving a Tesla.
Yeah.
And then you drive a car with really good haptics, I'm doing air quotes, but like really good steering feel, and you feel the road and
Is
you
that
feel much
better?
more connected and it's better.
Oh.
And so you're more connected. You can do more. You can experiment with it more. And so with like clicking buttons, it's almost like a mechanical keyboard versus a chiclet style keyboard. Like some people will just be fine with the chiclet style forever, but the mechanical feel is always better, I think.
I think we just expect it to be better. Like we expect the button to feel like a button. But if their UI doesn't have a button, then why do I want a haptic?
Are there kids growing up right now that have never felt a real button press?
Probably with just iPads.
Because they just do iPads.
Yeah.
They've never felt a button before. They don't know what a button is.
They have
Take a shot because I'm about to say I'm a boomer again.
Picture them like in an elevator, just like lightly grazing.
Why can't I get to my floor?
It's not working.
You show them a real keyboard, they're like, why are these moving? I just usually hit the virtual one. That's weird.
I'm Gen Z. I'm allowed to make these jokes.
This is rough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Zoomer.
Do you remember the Note 8? So before there was the swipe gestures, it still had the 3 buttons on the bottom of Android, and the Note 8 had like an under screen button just for the home.
Yeah.
I think that was like a really great middle ground at that point.
That was an idea.
I loved that.
Because, you know,
It worked really well.
the home button on the
Under screen?
iPhones, yeah, they had like a pressure sensitive
yeah, it was
area.
like-
You had to firmly press it. Because Apple just did 3D touch. And so they were like, how do we do
The
3D
Note
touch?
8 had that?
Yeah,
I
it was.
don't think it was a Note.
It was the Note 8.
Oh, what?
It was because I had it. And it was
okay.
like still one of my favorite phones. But remember the old BlackBerry where like it was touchscreen, but you had to press the whole
Oh, the
screen?
Storm?
Imagine that for just the home button. So like it physically clicked in a little bit. It was.
Did it click?
It
don't-
clicked.
I think it
I'm
was
pretty sure it
haptics.
clicked.
I have memory of some Android-based phone coming out at some point where the whole screen pressed in like a button and clicked. I just can't remember.
So the
who
BlackBerry
made it.
Storm
Is that what I'm
was the
thinking of?
whole screen.
That was the whole
clicked.
screen. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was awful.
It was the worst.
But this Android phone, because the iPhone had come out with 3D Touch, which
Yeah.
was this pressure sensitive layer, which is now
Epic.
gone. And they also have, by the way, they had those home buttons, which didn't move but felt like clicking buttons because of the haptics.
Right.
But Samsung wanted to sort of answer that, and they had just a specific spot in the middle of the bottom of the screen
Yeah.
where you could press firmer and it would activate some pressure sensitive thing, which is cool. And it was like an extra hidden feature, but that also disappeared shortly after 3D
I
Touch.
guess maybe it pressure sensitive home button built into the screen.
That's
was
what
it
it
the
was.
Galaxy S8?
Yeah, it was the
I
S8.
never had an S8 though. I only had a Note 8.
It might have also been the Note
Okay.
8 the same year. Yeah. So They tried it.
I had to find one.
Most people never used it or didn't even know their phone had it probably, and it just went away. It was just extra money they were spending on a feature nobody used. So
Yeah. Interesting.
all this to say, haptics still valued by current tech
I
users.
can't believe you
but
guys all use haptic
Except
keyboard.
could go away
I can't
theoretically.
believe you guys use haptic keyboards.
I mean, theoretically, you're ahead of the curve not using haptics.
I am.
You're just,
I
you're
always
just getting
am.
rid of clicks one software setting at a time.
Look at this boomer.
Yikes. Okay, I'm a boomer now. Hey, thanks for watching the clip this week. Fun fact, if you ask the subscribe button how it feels, kind of like it's a chatbot, it'll tell you an entire story about its nature, how it used to be one color, now it's a different color, and how it's sort of grown up and evolved over time. But you only get that story if you click it, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, if you want to chat with the subscribe button like a chatbot, just click it. I think that's all you have to do. Yeah.
I thought you had to smash it.
We still can talking about feet.